Hello guys, today we're going to talk about the modern nation state of Iran, its role, influence, and current ambition in the greater Middle Eastern region. First, a little bit of historical background here. Iran entered the 20th century as a monarchy, headed by the Pahlavi family. Its last monarch, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, ascended to throne in 1941. He was an autocratic, repressive ruler with a grandiose self-image of himself, calling himself the Shah, which means in Persian, the King of Kings. He ruled with an iron fist, he stifled all political freedoms, but on the other hand, he initiated an ambitious industrialization and modernization program, which saw as a result millions of Iranian peasants move from the countryside and rural areas to cities to work in factories, plants, and other aspects of economy. He allied himself with the West, which granted him protection, and was considered by the US to be the most important ally in the Middle East at that time. And most controversially, he initiated a set of social reforms, which had to do with people's dress codes, and granted more rights to women, and did some changes in religious worship and festivals, which extremely agitated the established religious authorities at the time. Discontent with the Shah policies was continuous throughout his reign, but it became most apparent and vocal in the end of 1970s, which also saw economic difficulties, inflation, rising unemployment, and commodity shortages. In the last month of 1978, massive demonstrations came out to the streets of Tehran and other major Iranian cities, demanding political freedoms and an end to the Shah regime. Eventually, the Shah had to bow to pressure, and in January 1979, he abdicated and left the country. After the Shah left the country, political power was assumed by Ayatollah Khomeini, a clergyman who mesmerized the masses with his charisma and canny political skills. Khomeini proposed a new form of government that's called Vilayat-il-Faqih, which literally means guardianship of the religious jurist. Under this system, Khomeini proposed that Iran will become an Islamic republic, so it will be a theocracy and a republic at the same time. Now, to combine those two contradictory elements together, Khomeini suggested that Iran will be a republic, would have all aspects of a republic, means an elected president, an elected legislative assembly, and a judiciary. But at the same time, the real power would lie with the supreme religious jurist or scholar, who would have sweeping powers as far as vetting candidates for president, appointing heads of the army and intelligence services, and other sweeping powers, who will be the ultimate ruler of the country. After consolidating their grip on power in Iran, Khomeini and his co-revolutionaries started to spread their sectarian, Islamist, and revolutionary ideas across their border to other neighboring countries in the Middle East in order to spread influence and gain allies in this region. Particularly susceptible to this form of revolutionary propaganda were Shia minorities in neighboring Arab countries who were marginalized, discriminated against, and excluded from power structures by elites in their respective countries for centuries. In Khomeini's revolutionary Iran, those minorities felt that they had found a power that would listen to their grievances and support them in this just cause. And soon Iran started to supply significant economic and military support for those Shia minorities and helped to organize them into a formidable political and military organizations that will dominate their country's respective governments and help to spread Iran's message and help her dominate the greater Middle East. Currently, in four major Arab countries, the major political players, whether it's the Shia-dominated governments in Iraq, or Assad in Syria, or Hezbollah in Lebanon, or the Houthis in Yemen, are Iranian proxies, and they depend on Tehran for their political, economic, and military support. And most of the disturbances and chaos of those countries were caused by Iran and its allies and proxies.